Peace, 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 peace. Give me give me a second, fam. See if I can invite a few people in and jump into it. See what I can do. Let me get started in a minute. Let me share in a few groups. See if I can get a few people in here. Let's see. Just bear with me. Just a second. I ought to put some music on. That's what I should have did. Like I said, family, just bear with me for a few minutes. I'm finna share real quick to a few groups, and I'll get right into the presentation. Okay. You get a couple more. Mm. I can't see who in the chat right now. Give me just a second, but peace to whoever in the chat. Like I said, I'm gonna get started in just a second. Just trying to share to a few groups. Maybe a few people want to come back in and rewatch because I did. This is a redo because I didn't finish. Okay. Where did I see it? Put it in. Okay. Let me get 3 more. And I'm kind of slow with this, and I'm gonna get started because I'm ready to go on and start and get through. Alright. Alright. Find this other group. Let's see. Okay. Alright, it's the last one I'm sharing right here. Let's see. Alright. Alright. Hotel sent that, Monica. I was bored. You saved me. Yeah. Peace, 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 Brother Jadar. Yeah, I started the presentation earlier and it cut out the presentation cut off on me. I kinda know why. I had a picture on there with a woman's breast out, right? And I know last time I put something up, Facebook flagged and cut my picture out, told me I couldn't use the picture. I think and that was because somebody must have reported me or something. In time I did that, um, had that slide up there, the whole broadcast got interrupted and shut down. So I wanted to redo it. Some people said they was interested in hearing the rest of the presentation. So I said I was gonna do it over. I should have did it from the channel in the beginning, but followed my first mind or follow my ear, which is my heart, and done it from here in the beginning and been done with it. But I went on Facebook since I did two previous shows on my YouTube channel Saturday, Sunday, and then I just said I'd do something on Facebook today. But I should have just did it here and I could have been done with it. But I'm gonna go back and, like I said, and redo it. Second time probably be the best, is a charm. So I'm gonna get back started and do it. And like I said, I wanted to, I was gonna probably redo it anyway because it's read some fresh information. So I'm just trying to bring some new and some fresh information on another region of Africa and about these women. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. And and anybody that think anybody can benefit from this information, especially the women. Like I said, this presentation is gonna be basically for the women. Um, but it's for everybody. So you think anybody gonna appreciate the information in this presentation, please invite them to the channel, uh, and hang out with us for a few. Give me just a second. I can't talk right now. Hold on, y'all. I'm finna start. Let me get back to logging in on this device because I logged out so I can see who in the chat. Peace, brother Damo. Hotel. All right, let's go ahead and get started because I don't want to prolong this no further. I want to get in and get out. Can everybody see my screen? Let me know if y'all can see my. I'm probably not. I'm not sharing my screen. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Alright.
Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man.
Raising my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should. Bring forth another hit, I should. I'm raising my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should. Bring forth another hit, I should. I should.
All right. The presentation again is called Bijago People, the Guinean Bissau, West African Matriarch Society. Again, this is a presentation that I went live on Facebook and did earlier, and the presentation was cut. The broadcast was interrupted, and in the middle of the presentation, and some people wanted me to do it again. So I told them I'll come back on later on and do it from the YouTube channel. Like I said earlier, I should have just did it from the, follow my first mind and just did it from my YouTube channel and broadcast it from my YouTube channel. This presentation again is, basically just shedding some light on our beautiful black queens. And this is the Bijago people. The women they have a matriarchic society. So the women are prevalent, the rulers of Guiana Bissau, which Guiana Bissau and the islands off the coast of Guiana Bissau, which is the islands off of there. So let's get into it. Disclaimer: I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information, and that information um, provided is for educational purpose only. And if you are in doubt, do the research or have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation, shut down, sell, or change the terms other use by my own discretion. All trademark, design rights, copyrights, residues, names, mottos, logos, avatars, the Sigma marks used or cited by these websites are the property of their respective owners. I reserve the right to add information as it comes available and or adapt changes, improve information as it comes available in the future. Inputs wanted, changes, additions, deletions are encouraged. As I learn, we all learn. This is a saying that I always say and I believe in. As I learn, we all learn. I believe that if we all learn something, we should share it with the next person. I believe this is the only way we'll be able to grow as a people, succeed and succeed to the next level. I'm gonna show a video real quick. This video is a video. It's about Guiana Bissau, those islands in the Atlantic Ocean. There are 88 islands, but there are 20 islands that are inhabitable. And this is just going to show just some of the islands. It's not going to show all 20 that are in that people live on. It's not going to show the other ones that no one lives on. Just wanted to kind of give you a backdrop of the scene on some of the islands. Some islands look better than the next island, but again, like I said, they didn't show all of them, but just want to kind of give y'all an idea.
where you oftentimes I find that always do the things that please you all the time. All the
Okay. Just wanted to kind of give y'all a little view of what some of those islands look like. Some look better than the others, but they wasn't. Um, they didn't show all the islands over there. Just some of the islands. Okay. The Bazagon or the Bijago archipelago, which is a group of islands, consists of 88 islands. Only 20 of the islands are inhabit all year round. The archipelago was formed from the ancient delta of the Rico Cabal and the Rico Grande and a span of an area of 1,295,850 hectares, 12,958 kilometers, 5,003 square miles. Only some 20 islands are populated year-round, namely Babaku, which is where the Bazago's administrative capital is situated, and it is the most populated island. Bolima, Karacha, Carvela, Inu, Formosa, Galihas, Hoa, Vira, Mao, Minku, Orongo, Arangozo Hino, Panta, Raksa, Rubahi, Songo, Unhunkomo, Unu, and Andrake. There is a high diversity of ecosystems. Mangroves with inter intertidal zones, palm forests, dry and semi-dry forests, secondary and degraded forests, coastal savannas, sandbanks, and aqua zones. The archipelago was declared in 1996 a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, Bolomo Bazogos Biosphere Reserve, known for animals including marine turtles, hippopotamus, and the southern islands are today a reserve. So on this side here, you can see I have a lit map, and I'll show a better view of it while I go. But we're talking about the Bijago people of the Basagos people, and they inhabit this region, Guiana Bazon. You have Guiana here, and you have Guiana Bazon here. These two places are different, even though they have the name. You have Guiana here, which is a neighbor to Guiana-Bissau, and you have Senegal, which is also neighboring to this area here. Guyana here, it was colonized by the French. This area here was colonized by the Portuguese, but the Germans had this area at one time, and these are the archipelago islands that are in the Atlantic Ocean that is off the coast of Guiana-Bissau. And Basson did not become Basson until 1974. They distinguished Basson and called it Guiana Basson so you wouldn't get it mixed up with Guyana, which was colonized by the French. And again, this area was colonized by the Portuguese, where the Germans and the Portuguese fought for this area and these group of islands here, and the Portuguese beat the Germans and defeated the Bijago people in the 15th century and inhabited here and until 1974 to they got their independence. The Bijago people got their independence in 1973, which was put together by a guy named Amilcar Cabral, which I'll show a mural of him in a second. So just wanted to show you a map exactly where it is set in West Africa. This is in West Africa, here, Guiana Bissau. And again, Guiana Bissau and Guyana here is two different places. This was inhabited by the French. This was inhabited by the Portuguese, who came in and conquered this area from the Bijago people at this time until their independence in 1973 and then recognized in 1974. This here is a big map. Hotep sent it, Lisa. Glad you was able to join us. Hold on. Okay, so this here is a bigger map here again. So you see Guiana Bissau, you see some of the areas here, all these places in Guiana Bissau here, and then you see the islands off over here in an Atlantic Ocean. Here, then you see Guyana on this side, Senegal on this side, and again, Guyana, this is the place where it was colonized by the French. So these are two different places. You see Guyana here, you see Guyana here, but these are two different places. And in 1974, they distinguished it so no one would get Guyana mixed up with this place here and call it Basson, which was named after which what they say named after the Bijago people or the Basagos people, which you get Bassos right here, Guiana Basson, to distinguish themselves from here. This area was conquered by the Portuguese in the 1500s, and this area here was this area, excuse me, was colonized by the Portuguese. This area was colonized by the French. All right. The Bajagos is made up of a spectacular, unspoiled beaches, abundant floras, and faunas, which deemed it to be classified as the United Nations World Heritage Biosphere Reserve. The island have the world's only saltwater hippos and 155 species of fishes. Some of its other inhabitants include crocodiles, dolphins, monkeys, and a strip of antelopes. 8 species of tortoise make their homes there along with 96 species of migratory birds. It's only due to the extreme difficulty in the navigating the narrow channels between the islands that has kept the giant fishes boats away. So the boats, keep, the boats weren't able. That's why I got a picture here. Wasn't able to get in here again, like they said, it was hard and difficult to try to navigate through the channels of the islands. All right, and it talks about a lot of species, 155 some species, the 96 something birds and so forth. These are some of the animals that inhabited the islands. Uh, the Bijago archipelagus, one of the most important points of the Atlantic Ocean for the sea turtle nesting by the green turtle. So this is the green turtles that inhabit here. You got the hippos that inhabit here, and you have the African mente, some type of fish in here, and you will see later on in the presentation how they utilize and honor these types of animals: sharks, hippopotamus, turtles, birds, ox, bulls, and so forth. They incorporated all these things that was on the island into their traditions, into their ceremonies, and so forth. Here is a picture before I get started and go into the presentation, more into the presentation about the matriarchic system with the Bijago women. As I stated in the earlier slide where I was talking about Guiana Bissau is not the same as Guyana. Guiana Bissau was colonized in the 1500s by the Portuguese, and Guyana, which is this neighboring, was colonized by the French at one point in time. And the Bijago people got their independence back and kicked and pushed the Portuguese out in 1973 and was recognized in 1974. So you see the military branch, the forces that was here, and the Soviet Union and Cuba helped and backed and fund the leader Amilcar uh, um, in raising up against the Portuguese, which they started in 1973, not 1973, but 1963, and declared their independence in 1973. So it took them 10 years to fighting back and forth with the Portuguese and finally pushed them out of the area of Guiana Bissau and those islands off the coast of Guiana Bissau. And in 1974, they named the place Bissau. Bissau became the capital of Guyana, and it was to distinguish themselves away from Guyana, the area of the region where the French had colonized it. And this here is a mural on the wall of Amilcar Cabral, uh, who was very instrumental, well, one of the leaders that uh, got individuals together and started the PICGC force to fight against Portuguese and push the Portuguese out. He was assassinated in 1973. They actually went in to try to arrest this brother, but he ended up getting assassinated during the time they was trying to arrest him. Hey, Monty reminds me of a big walrus. That what it looked like. Um, so this is Amilcar Cabral. He is the one that was instrumental in putting people together and getting Cuba and the Soviet Union to help bag him to fight and push the Portuguese out of out of Guiana Bissau. Matriarch. Matriarch are not just a reversal of patriarch. Hold on, let me get my cursor. Matriarch are not just a reversal of patriarch. And listen to this closely. With women ruling over men, as an unusual misinterpretation would have it. And as I explained earlier, when I did it earlier, we have a misconception of what matriarch and patriarch do to us being in the three organized Western religion at one time, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the major three religions here, which we know there are more than three religions on the planet, but just the major organized religion here in North America, and the patriarch and matriarch. And we know that we live in a patriotic society due to uh, uh, the European perspective is that in a patriarch, the man is the ruler. So this is why I stated earlier that we say this is a man's world. This is why we say man is the head of the household, because we have been taught that through through the eyes of the slave master or the colonizer, or those who have or and still oppressing us to this day. And or even in the major religions, it says that the three major religions that's recognized here, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, God is above man and man is above woman. So this is what substantiate um, a man being uh, the authority over the woman, and the man is above and better than the woman. These are things that we have been indoctrinated through the organized religion and through the school system, or the food system, as I like to call it. But in the matriarchic and the patriotic societies in our culture and African culture is different. We know that the woman cannot exist without the man, and the man cannot exist without the woman. So the man is equal to the woman. It's no one better than the next. And and the matriarchic society or mother is a mother-centered society. They are based on the maternal values, caretaking, nurturing, motherness, peacemaking, which holds for everybody, for mothers and those who are not mothers, for women and men alike. So even though this was a matriarchic society, and the women we'll get more into was um uh dominant, calling the shots. I would per se, they was calling the shots. They was over the land. They was over the houses. They was over the economics. They was over the politics. uh they was over selecting the chiefs for the societies of the tribes of the clans. But again, the matriarch is not a system where the woman is superior than the man, and what the woman says goes per se. It is a mother society. Again, it's a society of caretaking, nurturing, motherness, peacemaking. So keep that in mind. Peace, family, late. Yeah, I'm just getting started. Senator Sophie, you just came in. I'm just on the maybe the third slide. This is the fourth slide here, so you just getting in. So matriarchals are based on a union of extended clans. The people live together in big clans, which are formed according to the principles of matrilineage. That is kingship, acknowledgement, exclusive in the female line. The clan names and all social positions or political titles are based on through the mother line. So all the clans names, it would be under the women, the female line. All the political positions and so forth will be selected from the female and through the female line or through the female lineage, such as matriarch clans consisting at least of three generations of women. The clan mothers, her daughter, and her granddaughter, they directly related men. The brothers of the mothers and her sons, her grandsons. Generally, the matriarchic clans live in one big clan house, which holds anywhere from 10 to more than 100 persons. So again, all the clans would live in the house of the female, because again, this is a society that is basically ran by women. So every the men, and we're gonna get into that, how they select their husbands, and so forth. And the husbands will come to live with their wives in their own homes. And again, it says that it consists of 3 generations of women: the clan's mother, her daughters, her granddaughters, and the directly related men, the brothers of the mothers, and the sons and grandsons. Generally, the matriarchal clan lives in one big house, which holds anywhere from 10 to more than 100 persons. So this is why you have so many in, in one big clan house. Depending on the size and architecture style. The women live there permanently because daughters and granddaughters never leave the clan house of their mothers when they marry. So the mothers and their husbands stay there. The grandmother and her husband stay there. The brother and her husband stay there. The granddaughter, daughter, husband, and so forth stay there. That's why it is a big clan. The women never leave the household. The men, the husbands are brought in the household. The brothers stay in the household, and so forth. Within the Bijago society, there are 4 family lineages called the Dijorson, the Arukumas, the Almikas, the Aragas, and the Ogumbans. The origin of these goes back to the beginning of time. And these 3 names, which are the four lineage, and this here is just giving you an understanding on how Guinean Bissau and those islands are a matriarchic system. This here is going to kind of explain how it is a matriarchic system, and the women are basically the rulers of these islands and on the coast of Guiana Bissau. Excuse me, family, I got something in my throat. um so these are 4, where they say the family lineage, are females. And let's get into it. According to the legend, God, the creator Nindo, always existed, and at the dawn of time, life was created on the first island, Orongo. So Orongo, they're saying that their creator Nindo created the first island. This was things that came into existence first, was this first island, because again, we're talking about the Bajagon people who inhabited Guiana Bissau and off the coast of Guiana Bissau in the Atlantic Ocean, those 88 islands, which 20 of those islands are inhabitable, is habited by the Bajagon people, and you have the other ones that are not inhabited due to they can't be inhabited on. So Orongo is one of the islands, and I think I shared on a slide already, if I'm not mistaken, the name of the 20 islands that the Bajagon people are inhabited on. Uh, excuse me. All right, which was the world. Later on, there arrived a man with his wife named Akapakama, and they had 4 daughters who they named Orikuma, Uminka, Ugombane, or Inuka, or Arango. These are the names that I talk about right here. With the Bogger Jones Society, they have 4 family lineage. So this is where the matriarchic lineage come from these 4 women right here. Each of them had several children, their own, and they were bestowed special rights by their grandmother. The Orukumo, which was the first daughter, family received land. So remember that she received land and management of the ceremonies and beheld therein. Also, the right to fabricate statues. And one of the statues that they talk about, she was able to that she fabricated was actually a statue or a shrine that is called the Irin. And Iri in the Bojagan language means spirit. And we're gonna get into the Irin shrine or the Irin statue that was fabricated according to the cosmology of the myth of the Bajagon people of the first daughter. She received the land. So remember that first daughter received land, and she managed the ceremonies. And She managed the ceremony. So this is why you will see in the culture that the Bijago women, when they do their different ceremonies, they are the one that are in charge of the ceremonies because of the first daughter of the first woman that was created by their creator Nindo on the island of Orongo. The daughter inhabited the land, and she was her grandmother gave these special rights to the land and to manage the ceremonies, which is tied into the spiritual world and to held their own. Also, the rights to fabricate statues, which we're going to talk about the Irin statue and other statues as well that she fabricated, but more specifically the Irin statue, so that the first of these was made by Orukuma in the image of God in the land. Omika, this is the second daughter. Family, she received the sea. So the first daughter by her grandmother had the special rights of receiving the land, managing the ceremonies, and she fabricated these statues or these shrines, but especially the Irene statue, which we're going to talk about later on in time, that is engulfed into uh, their culture as well. All right, so she received the sea. The second daughter received the sea. Thus said about fishing. The Oranga family received nature. I mean, so she was, hold on. So the second daughter received the sea. Thus said about fishing. So, and you will see that the fish is incorporated into the culture is as well. And the fish is one of their economics, one of the is attached to the economic system too, where they are able to make money and so forth through the fish, because again the uh the islands are right off the coast of Guinean Bissau in the Atlantic Ocean, surrounded by the sea. So the third daughter, Oranga family, she received no not but the third daughter, she received nature, rice crops, the bahalas, and the palm trees. So the third daughter, she received nature, which was rice crops, and you will see a lot of in that land a prevalent of rice, where the women will go out and produce rice crops. And the palm trees was also instrumental to their economic system as well, for them to make money and so forth. The palm trees, and as I stated, yes, Africa has palm trees. You can see that all throughout our culture and our tradition, where we talk about palm oil and we talk about palm wine. Some of y'all should be familiar with that due to me talking about uh, the Yoruba tradition. I am a practitioner of Ifa, and I did a presentation on the introduction of Yoruba Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3, and I talk about Obatala. And I talk about Obatala getting drunk off of the pine oil coming down this golden chain. We're talking about the cosmology. And some of the research, you can offer them palm oil, you can offer them palm wine, and so forth, but you will see palm wine and palm oil throughout all African traditions. So the palm trees was a vital instrument to their economics, because again, they was able to produce palm oil and palm wine from these palm trees. So the third daughter, again, she received nature, which the rice crops of the Bohemians and the palm trees, which will provide for them great wealth. The Agumbang family received the power of rain and wind, thus enabled them to control the sequence of dry and rainy season. So the fourth dollar, she received the power of rain and wind. So we knew that, in order for the things to be able to grow, you had to have water on them. So, you know, for the palm trees to grow, for the rice crops to grow, for the land to be plentiful and other things able to grow out as they plant, they had to have rain. So she had the power to receive rain and wind, thus enabling us to control the sequence of dry and rainy seasons. She was able to control the times when it was going to rain and when it was not going to rain. The four sisters all play distinct yet complementary roles. This is the origin of matriarchy in the Bijago Islands. So I wanted to give you this so you can have an understanding of where um, the matriarchic system comes from out of their cosmology story, and the four family lineage that is based around the matriarchic system of the Bijago people are Rukumas, Omikas, Oragas, and Ogubanes, which are the four daughters of the first woman and the first man that was created by their creator Nindo on the island of Orongo. So I just wanted to give y'all that so y'all can kind of understand um, how this the Bajagon people are had a matriotic system and not a patriotic system. And again, in African culture, matriotic and patriotic system is we don't look at it the same way as the European look at it, as the same way we look at it as we deal with those uh uh Europeans religions, Europeans philosophy, Europeans theology, and so forth. You know, in their culture, the man is the ruler. This is again, this is why we state what we state now, because we say that man is this is a man's world. But you won't hear that come out of my mouth because I know better. The man is the head of the household, and you won't hear me say that either. And hopefully, I want to spark a dialogue, and maybe I can get some people because this has been on me for a little while. And I had a few discussions about matriotic and patriotic. And actually, I want to try to get a group of men on my channel, at least 5 men and 5 women on the channel, and we have a discussion. What is the role of a man? What is the role of the female? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the females that I talk to have a misconception on what the role of a man is. And a lot of men that I talk to have a misconception on what is the role of the woman. And I think it's a discussion that need to be talked and discussed about, and even digging deep into our own African traditions and see what our ancestors' perspective of what is the matriarch and what is patriotic, so we can have a better understanding and even dig into where do we get these concepts of this is a man's world, a man is the head of a household, which I talked about earlier. A lot of that due to the food system, and a lot of it is due to the three main organized religions recognized here in North America, the United States: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Because in their books, their texts say God is above man and man is above woman. Woman was created from the rib of a man, when we know scientifically that is inaccurate. You know what I'm saying? That is false. So I think this is a discussion that needs to be had in our community, and maybe I can get that jumped off here soon, or maybe the family in the chat, or maybe the family know a few other people that may want to come on my platform and help me organize some people in the platform where we can have this discussion of what a man's role is, what is a man role, what is a woman's role, what is the matriarch versus patriarch system is. Where did we get some of these ideals from, and what did our ancestors say about the woman and the man? Is the man superior than the woman? Is the woman superior than the man? But I can tell you right now, in our culture, they are equal. No matter what tradition you go into Africa, the man and the woman role is equal. Now you may see it a little bit in other cultures, but in ancient times, in the indigenous time, there was not. But you have to understand something too. At the same reason, when they came in the early 1400s, the Spaniards and the Portuguese that enslaved our ancestors and took them to Portuguese, Spain, the Caribbean, South America, and North America. Then that came into West Africa, and then into Central Africa, into the Congo. Then you had the other areas that were not kidnapped, but you had the Europeans that come in and then colonize that area. And as they colonized that area, their way of life and their perspective became the way of life uh, 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 of that society that they colonized in Africa. Thus, they had to adapt to their way of life, to their religion, to their culture, to their traditions, and to their ideals. So you may see a few tribes and clans that may practice patriotic system where the man is deemed to be superior than a woman, but you have to get down to the bottom of it and see where did that come from. Because in our systems, our ancient system, that was not. But due to being colonized in those areas, they took on the way of life of the colonizer. May it be the French, the Dutch, the Englishmen, the Portuguese, the Spaniard, and so forth. So I just wanted to put that out there before I go any further. It should be that way. Men and women are equal. That's how it is, Sister Sinette, in our culture. That's how it is. But I'm saying we are taught different. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think it's important for us to have that discussion about matriarch versus patriarch. Where did these ideals come from? What did our ancestors say? What is the role of the woman? What is the role of the man? So we can kind of get to the bottom of it and weed out uh, some of this foolishness that our women talk about and some of the foolishness that our men talk about, so we can stop living like this is a man's world when it's not a man's world. Because again, without the woman, there will be no life. The woman is the one that births uh, a nation. She births a country. She births a tribe. She births a clan. She births a government. So we will be nothing without the woman. We would even be here without the woman. But we need both. We need the man and the female, because the female cannot exist without the man. I mean, female cannot exist without the man. The man cannot exist without the female. Our ancestors understood that they both are equal. You know, one is not above the other. So this is why, even when I go back to the religion and we talk about Christianity, Judaism, or Islam, where they say that the man is above, God is above man, and man is above woman. And then you talk about the Adam and Eve, and you talk about the garden, right? And we are in sin because a woman was talking to a talking snake, disobeyed God, had Adam to bite the fruit, and man fell in sin because of the woman. So in those books, they demonized the woman. So this is why I say we have been indoctrinated in the religion. And this is why we treat our women a certain type of way. Even when we go back and we understand the psychology of our our slave master, our oppressor, our colonizer, we will see how they treated their woman before they even encountered us. You see, so again, this is a discussion I think that we should have, and we need to study more on when we're dealing with our own culture, and let them have their culture, give their culture back to them. All right. The Bajagons are a people who dwelled in a small village of the tabernacles. Let me stop, because I wanted to get started real quick, and I'm messing up. And the reason why I'm saying I'm messing up, before I do anything, I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors. And I'm jumping in, and I jumped in. I was trying to get started because, again, I did this presentation earlier where Facebook cut me off in the middle of my presentation. And that might have been due to I showed something on there that Facebook, I don't know it with me, because I have seen stuff that is ridiculous, crazy on Facebook that they play, you know what I'm saying, that they shouldn't play on there. So I know I had a picture up one time before, and Facebook flagged me, or somebody reported me and Facebook flagged me and so forth. And as soon as I put that picture up, that slide on, my broadcast got interrupted. It got cut off, and I wasn't able to finish the presentation. So I wanted to come back. So I came back on later on to redo the presentation. But that's why I was getting ahead of myself and trying to go ahead and jump back into it, because I have already done majority of this, some of it, but already, but not the entire presentation. So I want to present the entire presentation. But I want to say ETM Hotel, um, which means come in peace. I want to say dua dua. That means thank you very much. I want to say dua nature. That is praise the divine. Fatmu iwa pele, which means bring forth good character. So I always want to demonstrate good character wherever I'm at, um, and doing these presentations. And I ask those that are in the chat room, the few that's in the chat room, to demonstrate good character as well, because that is a foundation that is rooted in our tradition, is good character. Fatmu Alafie, bring forth peace. So I want to bring forth peace into the chat. Everybody be, be with peace. Igungun Majube Iba Igungun Kiki Igungun. You know what I'm saying? That's just, I want to pay homage to the ancestor. I praise my ancestors. So, and again, I wouldn't be here without my ancestors. I wouldn't be nothing without my ancestors. We wouldn't be nothing without our ancestors. We wouldn't be here without our ancestors. We are our ancestors. So I want to just pay homage to them. So I wanted to stop because I didn't want to take a part of something without incorporating them in what I was doing. So let's get back to it. The Bajagons are a people who dwelled in a small village of the tabernacles, formed by a house of mud and straw. It is thus society the woman chooses their husbands and have the final say in divorce. They are the owners of the homes they live in, which they themselves constructed. So again, in the previous slide, I told you we talked about the clans. The clan houses can consist of 10 to 100 people, and that is starting with the grandmother, the mother, the grandmother, the mother, and the children, the female children, and the brothers, and then the grandmother husband, the grandmother's daughter husband, her daughter husband, their kids, and so forth, which creates this big clan. But their husband goes to their houses, and here you can see that they choose their husbands and they have the final say in divorce. They are the owners of the home. That's why I say the men comes to their houses, come to live with them. Their homes they live in which they themselves constructed. It say the women constructed. These women constructed their own homes. And we're going to get into it. I'm going to show you some of the homes and what role the woman played in constructing the homes and what role the men played in, which the women can play, um, um, play a done more than what the man does to construct the home. But basically, the woman constructs the entire home. But we'll see what the man came in and done. So these women was builders. These women were master builders as well. And again, this presentation is dedicated to my beautiful black queens or to my queens, my African queens, because, we always talk about the greatness, and a lot of times we show things of men or we show things of men and women, but this is a time I wanted to shed light on specifically the women. So I can talk about the men a little bit, which I'm going to do. I could show, which I'm going to show, which each slide I'm going to show these beautiful women on each slide and so forth. And I'm gonna show one picture, maybe two of a man. And I could have showed more of a man, but I wanted to show more highlight the women because these women was the rulers of these societies. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to shed more light with them. So these women was also master builders. They ran the families and organized labor. They are also in charge of relationships with the spirit world. So they are in relationship with the spirit world. And again, their system is based around the four lineage of those four women that I talked about. The first woman, the first man had four girls, which became the lineage of the matriarchic system of the Bijago people. That's why I was telling you to pay attention. And the grandmother gave them a special right and a special task. And the first daughter, she was what? She received what? She received the land. And she received where she was over the ceremonies, and she fabricated these statues, specifically the Irin statue. And we're going to get into the Irin statue, but in the ceremonies, a lot of their ceremonies deal with communicating with the Igungun, the ancestor in the ancestral realm. You know what I'm saying? Communicating with, and you see this all throughout the African spirituality, that spiritual system where they say that our ancestors become possessed or they are being mounted by the ancestors. And I talked about these things in the African drum presentation that I did. I talked about this in my African dance presentation I did. I talked about this in my introduction to Europe part 1, part 2, part 3 presentations and a few other presentations that I kind of keep reiterating these things in. And so that's why you see that in the ceremonies, they are in charge of the ceremonies due to the uh the first daughter being over the ceremonies as well as the land, and fabricating this statue called Irin, which Irie in the Bijago culture means spirit. So we're talking about the spirit world. So we'll get into that a little bit more. So hopefully that is making sense. Hope everybody that's in the chat is enjoying the presentation so far. If you can hit the like button up top, those thumbs up buttons, if you don't mind. Um, so here we go. While different existed from one island to the next, in general, they managed the economics and the social well-beings. So they also was managers of the economic and the social well-beings of the society, because again, they ruled, they was the rulers of those societies. So they was over the politics as well as the economics. And they also had a chief that ruled all of the societies, which was a male, but it was through the male lineage line where he was able to be a chief of the society, which was selected by a group of men, a group of women, a council elders, which we'll get into a little bit later in the presentation. All right. The political power is the hands of the village chief, which is being justified by his connection with the ancestors through matrilineage descent. He is a leader of every community. He makes the decisions and control the distribution of the land and the important tasks. He exists by the council of the elders. So here you see the elder here, and you see the council of elders. You see these elders. These are the council elders, these women here. And these women are the one that select the chief over the society. And and it says he is justified by his connection with the ancestor through matrilineal descent. He is the leader of the community. So he is the leader of the community. He makes the decision and control and distributes the land. But he cannot do that alone. He has to be assisted by the council elders, who are uh, uh, um, actually select the male to be the chief of the society. The women are especially important in the political and cultural system of the Bijago, as they determine the chief line inheritance. The matriarchal order was so strong that the women selected their men and could force divorce on their husband, the man keeping the children. So the women could determine a divorce from the man and have the man to keep the children in the society as they divorced them. The Bajagon people celebrated the birth of a female, especially monumentally. Every woman, for her ability to become a mother, is afforded the highest respect and prestige. They are also the interpreter between the living and the spirits. And we know why, because I explained that earlier, due to the first daughter inheriting the land, having the rights to the land, through the ceremonies, which most ceremonies are conducted of them interpreting or being an intermediator between the physical world and the spiritual world, where they're able to communicate with the ancestors through the ceremonies and so forth, and something that's connected to this Irin statues and these other statues that we're going to get into later on, how the spirits housed in these statues, but specifically the Irin statue, and how it was incorporated into their traditions. At the ceremonies, they are in charge of running everything. They cook using large pots, plays music, dance, and serve wine to the men, who merely stand witness to the event that transpires. The girls choose their husband by placing a large plate of food. So the women chooses their husbands. The women chooses their husbands, and they chooses their husbands by these large plates of food. So we're going to get into that in just a second, and how they chooses their husbands and so forth. And I think the next slide, or the slide or the slide after this slide. The Bijago women takes up the housework. And by all means, if y'all got any questions, the people that's in the chat, if y'all got any questions, you know, please put them in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I like interacting with, the people that's in the chat. That's what I like doing. Interacting with the people, in the chat. I'm not the type of person that likes to do, like most people like to present information and people have questions. They don't want to interact with the crowd, the viewers, until after they get through presenting their information, and then they, if people got questions, they want to do a Q&A and what's name. I don't like to do that. I like to present information. If anybody got any questions, I like for them to ask the question or stop me, and I don't mind. We can talk about it for a few minutes before I keep uh, going on through the presentation. Bajagon women takes up the housework. And we're going to get into some of the tasks. Now I'm getting some of the tasks or the roles of the Bajagon women. And I'm going to touch briefly on the tasks of the men in the society, the Bajagon men in the society. The Bajagon women, okay, that ain't what my curse said. Okay. The Bajagon women takes up the housework, possession, palm oil. And remember, one of the children possesses the nature of the rice crops, and the palm trees. This was the third daughter. And again, the rice, and the palm trees are connected to their economics. This is how they're able to create opportunities and get money and so forth from the palm trees, where they make palm oil and they make palm wine from extracting from the palm fruit, the palm nut that's on the palm trees. Processing the palm oil, cultivating small gardens and rice cultivation in so-called Bohemians land flooded after the rains, shellfish harvesting, cutting straws, because they was agriculture. So you can see the women out here doing certain things, and we'll show them. I'll show another depiction of them later on. So you can see that these women were rulers. They were master builders. They were master agriculturalists. You know what I'm saying, and so forth. Selfish, harvest, cutting straws to cover the house, making the traditional Bajagon skirts, which we're going to get into a little bit later on. We're going to get into the skirts, because they wear these in their culture. They wear these certain types of skirts, and they're different colors for a different reason. And throughout the Guinean Bissau and off the coast of Guinean Bissau, those islands, they wear these specific skirts as well on these particular islands that they inhabited, also. But we'll get into that. So they make the traditional skirts. Also, they are also looked after the village temples and educate their children. And a lot of the village temples, we're going to get into that, because I talked about the women. They constructed their own houses, so they was builders. So they build their own homes. But we're going to get into the village temples or the village shrines, and who also played a role in building those village temples or those village shrines, which the Bajagon women look after those temples, and they educate their own children, which that's what we should be doing anyway. But the way the system is set up here, we're not able to educate our own children, specifically the women, because it is set up now specifically for us, specifically of people of color, to be subservient, to go to their food systems and learn about somebody else's culture. And we're not empowered because we're being educated about the Greeks. We're being educated about the Romans. You know what I'm saying? We're being educated about some of the Arabs and so forth. So we're not being empowered. We are being devalued. We are being psychologically damaged. We are going through these systems. We are having low self-esteem. where we feel like we contributed nothing to the society because we are letting the colonizer, the oppressor, the slave master educate our babies. So they teach about their greatness, but they don't teach about where they was educated at, what type of people they were, how did they possess the riches that they possess, how did they gain access to the lands all over the world. They don't teach about that part of the destruction and the evil and so forth with that. So when we go in, we think it's okay to go to school, get a good job, and get a good, I mean, go to school, get a good education, and get a good job um, for our kids. And I talk about this a lot. So we go to work, specifically the mothers, because now we have more broken homes in the black community than ever. So the mothers, are working one, maybe two jobs, and they can't educate the children. So they have to put it into the oppressor, the slave master, and the colonizer school system and let them educate them. And actually, they are not educating them, and they are teaching them to be subservient and not to be entrepreneurs, not to own your own, not to pass generational wealth down, but to make them rich. To make sure they continue to pass down generational wealth from one generation to the next generation. The men are charged with the akunu, or which is the jungle, where they collect the sap and the fruit of the palm trees, fish in the sea, and clean and burn the fields for the planting of the rice growing after the temporary flooding from the rain, known by the name Impa. So these are some of the roles or the tasks that the Bajago Moon Bajagon men take in a role are. Excuse me. All right, these are some of the Bajagon dishes. You have the Casilla Guana African stew. You have the Guana Basson palm nut stew. And I just put these two pictures up here or a dish because, again, I mentioned something about how the Bajagon women select their husbands, because they are the one that select their husbands. So it says the girls choose their husbands by placing a large plate of food at the house of their choice. If the young man is willing to accept her proposal, he eats the food. So basically, this food is a proposal in the man's hand in marriage, per se. So they would offer a plate of food, a large plate of food, to the man that they chooses or who they want to be their husband. And if the man accept her proposal or her hand in marriage, he eats the food. After doing so, the future husband goes to live with the girl in the hut, which she will raise, and the couple is then married. So again, it says after doing so, the future husband goes to live with the girl in the hut. So remember, in the slide, I told you that the clan consists of the family clan, and one home can consist of, it just depends, what a clan consists of 10 to 100 people in the household clan, just depending on how big the house and the agriculture of how big the land is that they are occupying at this time. So the man will come stay with the woman until she drag her husband's belongings out the front door, thus indicating she does not wishes to live with him any longer. Y'all still doing that today, ain't you? You get mad at a brother, you drag his clothes outside, you put his clothes outside. Get your SHIT, and you got to go. Get out. Or you already got your stuff out the door, or you're throwing it out the window. You got to go. All right, God, spirits, and human beings. The Bajagon worships Komramindi, Iramindi, and singular, the spirits that governs existence and the underworld. Their belief is based on a life force that is present in all beings and to interrelationship between the world of the living and the dead. They also believe in existence of multiple gods that cannot interact with the people. Chief, and you can see in most of our culture and our tradition, you know, they deal with what we call lesser deities. And you have a supreme deity, then you have lesser deities. Chief among their gods is Nindo, that was the supreme god who created Obende, the first man, and Okanto, the first woman. So Nindo, he created the first man, as I explained when I was trying to explain how um, the Bijago people uh was a matriarchic system due to this cosmology story that was told of their creator creating the world, which creating the first island Orondo, where they created the first man and woman that had the four girls, who was the four line or the main lineage of the matriarchic system, and the roles that these four women played that they incorporated into the traditions of the Bajagon people. They are firmly believers of reincarnation. Death is but a short sleep which lasts until the deceased can again be reincarnated as a child. So in all African traditions, we can see no matter what country you go into Africa, those that practice their indigenous systems, um, we believe in reincarnation. You know, um, and that's just about in every system. To find out in whom the dead person has been reincarnated, one must seek out the priest Orono, a priestess Irinka, the soul or Rubak, or the deceased person can only be reincarnated if a statue has been carved to preserve his or her memory. So it says the soul or Rubaka or the deceased person can only be reincarnated if the statue has been carved to preserve his or her memory. So, and this is going to tie into the Irin statue, and in their culture, they're saying that the person cannot be, this according to their culture, their tradition, the Bajagon culture, that a person cannot be reincarnated again if a statue has not been carved and preserved in his memory. So they preserve the memory of their deceased, or they reserve the memory of their ancestors by carving this statue called the Irin. And I will get more into that in the next slide or two. I don't know, in the next 2 or 3 slides we'll see. Can't remember which slide it is. The Baluba temple or shrine is a resting place of the spirits. This is a house that is usually found at the Tabaka Central, where the transportable shrines of the ancestors called the Irines, which I just talked about a little bit, but we're gonna go into, or kept along with other sacred objects. So this Irene shrine, this statue, which we know this Irene was fabricated according to the cosmology of by the third daughter, which she received she received nature. No. The first daughter, I'm sorry, that received the land and was over the ceremonies, and she fabricated these statues, but specifically this Irene statue that is now incorporated in the Bajagon traditions, which is a shrine and a transportable shrine. And we're going to see what else this transportable shrine is used for, and so forth. The Bajagon, the Bajagon art is closely connected with religion, wood carvings, and it is the most practiced form of arts amongst the Bajagon. And these are some of the statues here, but these are not the Irene statues, but these are some of the statues that they was carved here. We're going to see what these
statues or these shrines are. The statues represent the spirit of the land and are carved in wood and is placed in the Babalusa. These statues, which are considered sacred objects, are made upon request of the person in charge of the ceremonies and the different ritual marks that have several phases in their execution. Such as monuments of invocations of the Iri, which is the spirit. The word Iri means spirit in the Bijago language. For help for the execution of the statue, as well as permission to cut the tree in which the Irin spirits are incarnated. And I talked about this earlier when I was doing the presentation earlier before I was cut off. Um, these you can see in our traditions that our ancestors, when we talk about the spirit, we're talking about energy. So our ancestors understood the ka and the ba. They understood the ashe, which is the spirit, or the Irene, which is the spirit in the Bajagon uh, language. They understood that the spirit is nothing but energy, and energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred from one state to the next. Let me see. We even have highly influential blacks online, YouTube, saying we shouldn't be trying to be African. We're American, which means accept what was done, forget who you are, and be Eurocentric. That is correct. And you have people that are on Facebook that say that America is Africa and slavery was in reverse, that we are indigenous to this land. We are Americans and we are not Africans per se. It's just so much confusion going on, but you have a lot of people just want to just let live and let die. Okay, they did this, such and such. They got this and that. We still being oppressed. We don't have this. We have all these obstacles in the way, but let's still praise the European. Let's still have their same perspective. Let's still have their outlook. Let's not even remember about our own culture, our own tradition, not even find out if we was great or not. It's a shame too. But again, like I said, the ancestors understood what the spirit was energy, which cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred from one state to the next. That's why we believe in uh, reincarnation. And these ritual spirits are called through the tinkling of a small bell. And also, most people will say our ancestors practice animism, and animism is nothing but merely the ashe, or the this energy, or ira, is in everything. Energy consists in all things, whether it's animated or inanimated energy. It has a spirit. And going back to the tree, where they cut the tree down, where it says here, let's see, uh, execution statues, as well as the permission to cut the tree down in which the Irene spirit will incarnate. So they was talking to the spirit and trying to get permission to cut the tree down, as well as talk to the tree, because in most of in our culture, we believe everything is intertwined. The uh everything is alive, uh uh in the physical and in the spiritual, the universe and so forth. So we have animated and inanimated energy. So everything exists. So they understood that the tree had a soul. The tree was alive. The tree grows and dies just like we do. So they would talk to the tree, and they would ask the tree, they would like to cut the tree down and receive its energy, because they wanted to build either a house for them to inhabit in, or they wanted it for firewood so they can survive, or for wood so they could cook their food with, um, and so forth. So they would talk to the tree to get permission also from the tree, and let the tree know, and they will pour libations. Some of the culture will pour libations, honoring the tree, talking to the tree with respect before they cut the tree down, because they knew the tree had a spirit. The tree lived just like it lived. Understood that the tree had energy, just like him. The tree was animated energy, and was inanimated energy, and they are animated energy. That's why our ancestors understood animated and inanimated energy. Everything has a soul. Everything lives. And these ritual spirits are called through the tinkling of a small bells and awful canals, a sort of grapple, distilled palm wine, and tobacco. Now here in this slide here, we have here um the Irene statue that I talked about. So this is going back to the first daughter that was the daughter of the first woman and the first man that created the four women's, and those four lines of women is uh is the foundation of the matriarchic system of the Bijago people. And the first daughter received the land. So we know the first daughter received land. She was over the ceremonies, and she fabricated statues, but specifically the Irene statue. We know the second daughter, she received what? She received the sea where the fishes was, which was also another the fish was also connected to their economics. And because those uh group of islands was in the Atlantic Ocean surrounded by the surrounded by water. And we know the third daughter, she received nature, the rice crops and the palm trees, which the palm trees is connected to their economics as well, such as the pine, the palm oil, and the palm wine, which you will see palm oil and palm wine all through Africa in our traditions. And the fourth daughter, she received uh, the power of rain and wind, where she was able to control rain and wind, which we know we needed rain, we needed that water to for the plants, you know what I'm saying, for the rice, for the palm trees, for the other plants, for the herbs, in order for it to grow up out of the earth, out of the land. So they received that. But going back to the first daughter, she again was over the land. She was over the ceremonies. This is why the women's are over the ceremonies in the tradition according to the cosmology of the first daughter. And she fabricated the statues, which I showed the statues while ago, which is which say it possessed the spirits of the land. And here it talks about the Irin, Iri, which means spirit. So they honored their ancestors by creating a statue. And that in order for the ancestors be reincarnated, they will have to build this statue called the Irene, which their spirit will be inhabited in, or the Nindo, the supreme creator spirit, will be housed in. His Iri will be housed in, or as in my tradition, the Ashe will be housed in. Hold on, y'all. All right. Um, So this is the Erie. So let's get into it. The Bajagon figure can be realistic and attract. I mean, a realistic or abstract. They have the head with a pointed chin and a flattened face, often with round eyes and a semicircle ears. These Irene figures are believed to be possessed by divinities and have many functions. They serve as a focus of divination ceremonies. So they also serve as the focus of the divination ceremony. So, and again, our traditions have the divination systems incorporated in them in just about every African system. The divination ceremony, the divination ceremonies. So this statue was also the focus of the divination ceremony. It was there doing uh, the diviner in the ceremony and so forth. And it was as a protector. It was a protector of the household against curses and as a healer. So this thing was also kept in the shrines, in the temples, as well as in the house for protection against curses and was used for healing. Kept in small sanctions of a special place in the house, in houses, these figures are offered sacrifices and libations. So they offer sacrifice to them, you know, and that's the same thing because again, you are offering sacrifice to the ancestors because again, this statue was carved for the spirit of the ancestors or the deceased ones, so they can be reincarnated again. And I didn't put one on here. And normally when I go for my YouTube channel, I always do a Hotep Dina suit, which is an offering formula to the ancestors. So we can offer all types of things to the ancestors. So it does not have to be animals, but even if we did offer animals uh, to our ancestors, we would do the same thing as we did to the tree. We will pour libations to the animals. We would talk and explain to the animals we needed that energy from them for whatever reason we needed that animal for at that time, whether it was for food for us to survive with, whether it was a offering to the ancestors, because this was a proper food that they liked, in order we wanted to receive some help from our ancestors. Um, um we wanted our ancestors to be a part of our lives and so forth. So a sacrifice, offering sacrifice could be anything. It could be a cigar, it could be a picture, it could be any, one of their favorite meals, it could be one of their favorite drinks that they might have drank and so forth. And they pour libations. And I talked about the libations. If folks don't, those that they may not know about libations, just go to when you're on my channel after this thing, or whenever you got some time, just click down and go to my libations presentation, and I talk about the libation presentation, which I think was a great uh or eker, which means excellent presentation I did on libations. So I go deeply into the libations because we have only one conception. We have only uh when we think of libations, we only think about pouring libations to the dead, and we think about water. But there's so many different levels when it comes to libations. So check that presentation out. Um, also, I don't know exactly what the name of the presentation is, but it's something libation. So just stroll through the content on my page so you find it and check out the presentation. All right. So this is a picture here I got of a group of young men here producing palm oil and Bajagon archipelago, which archipelago just means a group of islands on the Guiana Bissau, because we're talking about the Bajagon people who inhabited Guiana Bissau and off the coast where those islands is, um, in the Atlantic Ocean, those groups of islands, those 88 islands, which 20 of those islands are inhabited by the Bajagon people. And I talked about the second daughter. Not that was the second, let me see, no, the third daughter. And the third daughter was she received nature, the rice crops in nature, the rice crops and the palm trees. And again, the palm trees are all in our tradition. It's just not in Bajagon, Guiana Bissau in West Africa. It's all over Africa, specifically all over West Africa, where we talk about the palm trees. You know what I'm saying? The palm nuts. I know y'all heard about the palm nuts in one of my presentations. I talk about the palm nuts, and two of them, to be specific with, and they again the third daughter was uh, received the palm trees, and the palm trees is connected to their economics. We know the women are over the economics as well. And you can see these young men, they are producing the palm oil here, as well as producing where they can produce palm wine as well. So they produce palm oil and palm wine where they sell it. Again, it is connected to their economics, and it also connected to their cosmology system, which they incorporated into their own culture and their own traditions surrounding the cosmology of those four women. You know what I'm saying? Which is the branch of the matriarchic system of the the Bajagon women. Here you can see I got a picture here, and this is a picture of some of the canoes here. And a lot of these canoes were used for military things, as well as raiding European ships, because again these islands was in the right off of Guiana Bissau in the Atlantic Ocean, so ships would sail past these islands all the time. So the Bajagons are known for earlier chronicles accounts for their daring raids on ships along the African coast using huge canoes known as Bajagon pirates canoes. They are raided on the European ships and made away with their cargoes and other items on board. But they are also used for, they had these canoes for fishing, because fish is also connected to their economics. Because of the second daughter, what did she receive? What right did she receive? She received the right to the sea as well as the fish. So all these things again is connected to their cosmology, which is connected into their that they have incorporated into their traditions. For these material clans derive the choices of the Oronde, or the chief, of the Takabon, or the Okinka, which is the priestess, are great power and prestige, in charge of worshiping the deities and elders. Both are regulated, controlled, and advised by the council elders. And the council elders are women. I showed you those women earlier in a slide, and you had a male that was right there. You had the council elders; those were the one that was to select the male role to be the chief over all the societies on all of the islands, as well as on the coast of Guiana Bissau. Um, they was the one that selected him. He was also selected due to having through the matrilineal lineage. Also, he was justified to be the chief, and he made the decision for as uh, what went on the land and distributing the land to people. It wasn't he owned the land and you had to buy land from him. He distributed land to those who needed land, but he did not make decisions for the entire society unless he talked to the council elders, who were women. Okay. Um. Uh. All right. As to the system of stages of spiritual development, there exists eight levels, four for men and six for women. So going through the spiritual stages of development, because all have, and we're going to get into that a little bit later in a couple of slides where we talk about initiation and initiation rites and so forth. Uh, their spiritual stages that they went through, these levels that they went through, the men had to go through them longer than the women. The women only went through 6 levels. The men had to go through 8 levels. And you can see this through that the women, they mature faster than the man do. That's what they say. And I do see that the men do mature faster than women, and then the woman is is wisdom. You know what I'm saying? The woman represents wisdom. So you hear me call the woman queen, or you hear me call a woman wisdom, especially one that may be special in my life, or my mother come here wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Because again, the women are the teachers. That's why in their culture, uh, the women are the teachers. Even in all other, it's just not in the Bajagon culture, but all of the African tradition, the women are the teachers. That's why you see today most of the people that are teaching our children are women. But you will have the Bible say, or the Quran say, or you will have the Torah say that the women are not the teachers. You know what I'm saying? The woman is supposed to be quiet. The woman is not supposed to, which is a contradictory to me. How can you say that when? And I was having a conversation before me and my wife separated. Her uncle. We was having a conversation, and this is why I say we have been indoctrinated, and we have to be careful with things that we say. And I was going back to, this is why we treat our women a certain type of way, because those books demonize the woman. We are in sin because the woman bit from the forbidden fruit and had Adam to bit from the forbidden fruit, so we fall in sin. God is above man, man is above woman. Hence, this is why the man is the head of the household, man is the ruler, man is this is a man's world. See, we have been indoctrinated into these things, and the women, he said that can't no woman teach him nothing. This was an older guy, and I told him, I asked him, do we have kids? He said, yeah, I got kids. So majority of your kids are being taught by teachers, right? He was like, yes. I said, majority of the teachers are women, right? He said, yes. I said, you went to school, right? I said, majority of your teachers was women, right? He was like, yes, they were. So why can you say a woman can't teach you anything? And he's rooted in the three Western religion, i.e. Christianity, and he goes off of this dangerous rhetoric. So that the woman is supposed to be quiet. The woman is not a teacher. The woman is inferior and he is superior because he is the man. And what the man says goes. You see? So I had to break some stuff down to him and he stopped talking to me. He stopped talking to me. After that, he used to talk to me over the phone because he used to call her all the time to chop it up with her. And he would, I would talk, we would talk, get together. And this specific time we was talking, and I just had to make him say that, man, this is a contradictory, and then just run down some things for him. So I talked to him about a whole bunch of stuff where he agreed with me. And I said, but you just said such and such a woman can't teach you nothing. But we know. And then I asked him, didn't your mother teach you your name? He was like, yes. Didn't your mother teach you how to identify with the opposite sex of her, which was your father? She said, that's your father, your dad. Did she teach you that? Yes. Did your mother teach you right from wrong? Yes. Did your mama teach you how to use the bathroom? Yes. Did your mother teach you how to eat? Yes. Did your mother? So how can you say a woman can't teach you nothing? So you see the dangerous rhetoric that people spilling is because of we have been indoctrinated, man. And after that, and it wasn't to make the brother look bad, but it was just to try to get him to think. And it was he's my elder. He's older, way older than I am. But it just what he was saying didn't make no sense. But I understand why he was saying what he's saying because he has been indoctrinated and he's a deacon in the church, and and just a lot of the rhetoric in the just I'm just not. It's no disrespect because I'm not about disrespecting anybody, but things just don't make any sense, man. I just tell you, man. So that's why I say we have to return back to our own culture and our own traditions. But getting back into it, uh uh young people transition. Okay, hold on. As the system stays spiritual development, there exists 8 levels for men, 6 for women. Young people transition into an adult social life by means of initiation ceremonies of great importance called the fanando or the maras. This means initiation, performed separately for men and women. These rites require extensive preparation on some islands. Male circumcision is an associated aspect. In the ritual Fandu, the initiation must spend as long as 6 months alone in the sacred forest. And this wasn't too long before I got cut from when I was trying to present it on Facebook, which I should have just went on ahead and did it from my channel in the beginning. The presentation could have been already up here, but again, like I said, I had did a show Saturday with me and Cuban Crisis. If y'all hadn't checked that out, check that presentation out because we talk about the tradition and we talk about how we are divided even in our African tradition. So we talked about Ifa, which I'm a practitioner of, which comes from out of northwestern Nigeria by the Yoruba people, and we talked about Saturnalia. I mean, Satiria. We talked about Lukambe. We talked about Kamdambala. We talked about Shango, Baptist. We talked about Apollo, and it was a great discussion that we had. I showed a few slides to try to walk people through because I'm a visual person, so I showed some slides And then we had the discussion after I showed the slides so people can kind of understand and kind of walk with us through the discussion. So if you hadn't looked at that, check that out. Then I did something yesterday. It was this Saturday, and then Sunday was yesterday. Yesterday, and I did a presentation with the Seshuma Ani Metaneta group, which I'm a part of. So we just did some transliterating and translation of the Sesh, or what y'all call the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. So we ran through three glyphs. We went over the steps, uh, and so forth. So I just said, okay, since I did that, I'll just go to Facebook today and do this presentation, just for Facebook, and then I will upload it, download it to on here so it can be on here. But it got cut. But Sister Lisa was talking about the 6 months alone when we was on Facebook, and I was explaining to her how the men and the women are separated from society when you're going through your initiatory rites, or your rites of passage, where the second rites of passage you would come from a youth to an adulthood, your adulthood rite. So the male will be separated from the society, and the female will be separated from the society for a certain time. And according to the Bijago people, it is 6 months. But in um, other African traditions, it varies. It may be a few days, it may be a week, it may be a month, it may be 2 months, it may be 3 months, it may be 6 months. It's just all according to the traditions of that clan, tribe, or society. Um, and um, so we kind of talked about that a little bit. But again, if you want some more understanding of the rites of passage or the initiatory systems, then again, I got so much content on my page. Just after this or tomorrow or whenever you get some free time, just scroll down till you see the African and rites of passages presentation, and I go through the rites of passages of the birth, the rites of passages of adulthood, and go through all three stages of adulthood into developing yourself in adulthood into an elder. I go through the third rites of passages of the marriage. I go through the fourth rites of passages, a circumcision of the man and the woman, which they outlawed the circumcision of the woman due to health reasons and so forth. But even in this culture, on some islands, they accept circumcision, and on all the other islands, they don't accept circumcision. But circumcision is a part of African culture, and it has been going on well along before you get to Judaism, Christianity, or Islam. And I showed this in, I don't know what presentation, because I think I'm on about the 30 of some presentation now. So I don't know exactly what presentation where there was where I actually show evidence. I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm actually going to show the evidence. So I actually told you where it actually come from, but I actually showed you the documentation where it was first recorded in. But it wasn't recorded where they say that the circumcision come from. But I showed you the documentation of the first documentation of where it was documented on the walls at. And this is well before you get to Islam, Christianity, Judaism, and all the other isms on the planet. Because we know there's about 45,000 religions on the planet. So before you get any other ism, African was well in time doing circumcision. So I show that in the in the documentation, you know what I'm saying, and even show you that it existed before you even get. Because when we think of circumcision, we think this comes from one of those major religions that are accepted here in North America, which are only three. Again, there are over 45,000 religions, but there are three that is accepted here and is well organized, and that is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. I wonder why they cut him off. I'm gonna tell you why I think they cut me off. I love going over the three decipherment just like the old times. Yeah. That's why I got it together, because I got tired of people saying, man, when y'all gonna do something, man. Where the session gonna come. And I ain't gonna lie, I've been missing a group. But we had a long run, and like I talked about when we did the show last night, that we may come back and do something again. And we actually talked about it last night in the hangout after the show, after I stopped broadcasting. So we may be trying to develop another show because right now our schedule is contradicting with each other to do the Freestyle Friday and the Freestyle Friday and the Divine Words Wednesday. And we had a long run. We did that for 3 years straight, consistent every Wednesday, Divine Word Wednesday, every Friday, Freestyle Friday. So we did that consistently for 3 years. But over time, people lives changes, what I'm saying, and the schedule changes. So a lot of our schedule changes. So it started conflicting. So, we just feel like, we weren't gonna be able to do it because we weren't gonna have enough of the the brothers or the sister in there to do the freestyle Fridays or the Divine Words Wednesday. But we're gonna try to do it. But we've been talking about doing the Sabite Dome. So we're gonna do the Sabite Dome, which we know we did. We came up with the show, the Sabite Dome, where we address issues. So we're going to be addressing some issues, some upcoming issues that we're going to start addressing. We talked about some of the things that we're going to address, and then I'm going to do something maybe on the Sabite Dome or maybe something on my channel, and it's going to be addressing was Hatshepsut the first queen? I mean, the first king, and that's a claim that I seen the other day. And me, you don't see me on our Seshu page. We have people on there, and we have a lot of brothers and the sister Sinette Emicat. You know, they be in the thread, even outside of our YouTube, not a YouTube, but our Facebook channel. They they be in the thread, when they see some of the claims. I'm kind of a person that, well, I was a kind of a person that I fall back. I see a lot of claims on Facebook, some foolish claims, but I never go into the thread and comment on the thread. And we got some issues, some claims that's going on, especially in the Seshu group now, a few issues. And so they addressing the claims, but I've just always been the type of person that just laid back, and I just try not to, because some people not, well, we don't do that, but you have some people that want to stroke their ego and look better than the next person, so they'll get in people thread to try to make the next people look bad, but that ain't what we're doing when we're addressing the claims. And when we address claims, we address the claims. We don't address the person. We're not about disrespect. We're about ma'at. We're about Iwa Pele, which is good character. We're not about Iwa Baruku, which is bad character. We're not about Isfat, which is chaos. We're not about that. So we just addresses the claims. So, but I had just been the case because I know how it is. Like I was explaining earlier, well, last night, how people are get very emotional and think you were attacking them when you were attacking the claim. That's why I make a disclaimer. I make a disclaimer every time I do a presentation. And by me making this disclaimer, I'm letting people know that I am up for critique. I don't mind you venting the sources that I have at the end of my presentations. And if I made an error, I don't mind coming back and said I made an error. That's why I said corrections and deletions in the disclaimer, meaning that I will correct and delete the inaccurate information and put the correct information if I made an error. Because only thing that can do will help me grow, help me grow, help me perfect the methodology behind this. So I don't mind it, so my ego won't get in check when they're trying to help me. They're trying to help me out. But some people have economics tied behind their teachings, so they feel like you're attacking them and you're taking something away from them. But and just the conversation that we had, and then Saber came into the hangout after the show last night, and we talked, and some of the things he was doing for us with the short things, and even with the long thread that I seen, it inspired me. We can't let stuff continue to go on. We just have to oversaturate some of the stuff that's inaccurate. So we have to address the claim and not the person, and that makes sense because we're not about disrespecting anybody. So when you look at my channel, you don't see no foolishness. That's why I don't have a big platform. Now, if I was cussing people out, on here, and I had disrespectful people coming on the show, and they talking about killing your whole family, uh, having sex with your mama and cutting her head off. I'm talking about another group of people. You know what I'm saying? I have probably 5,000 members. You know what I'm saying? I have at least 1,000 people in the chat all the time. You see what I'm saying? But we're not on that because we understand that good character is rooted in our traditions. So we have to exhibit that at all times. So I got that coming out of the foundation of the Seshu, and we have bylaws set in place in the Seshu group. So anybody that becomes a member of the Seshu Ma'amni Neta group, you are governed by bylaws. So we have a structure in there. That's why you don't see us doing things like the other groups. That's why the Seshu took so long to take off, because we didn't have the foolishness, and a lot of people didn't even know about us. Didn't even know that they had a group that was transliterating and translating glyphs on a day-to-day basis. When people said that the ancient hieroglyph writings have never been deciphered, you see. But I'm going on a rant. But let's get back into the presentation. The Bijago girl in her traditional initiation regalia. So you can see her in her initiation regalia. Here, this is the Bijago initiation mask headed decorations. So, and I talked about masks a little bit, and I showed a lot of masks um, that was in my African mask presentation, which was another Eker, which means excellent presentation. That's my opinion. It may not be excellent to some folks. I don't know. But I got a great feedback for it. But it may be some that may not like the presentation, but it was a great presentation. Did a lot of research for the presentation on the masks, and I talked about the different masks and what the masks mean, and so forth. So, and we know the masks are incorporated in that initiatory ceremony, in that initiatory ceremonies. In their ceremonies, mask was the everyday way of life also. So, in Bajagon, they they were surrounded by the ocean. So they observed a lot of things that was in their thing. Appreciate the mask. I appreciate the mask. Yeah, I thank you for looking at it, Senate Monica. And so you have, and they and in their culture, you can see they emulated, and I understood, and we're gonna get into why they emulated the uh the ox and the bull. So you will see in initiatory systems, most of them wore the ox head and the ox mask, but you will see the kids with the shark mask, the fish mask, because again, you will see that it's incorporated in their culture because of the surroundings of where the ocean was at, where they see a lot of fish, sharks, turtles, and so forth. And I'm gonna explain all that in a minute. So you will see these bulls, most of these bull masks, you know what I'm saying, and which they put on their face or they put on top of the heads, and it was dealing with their in their ceremonies. So you see here in this picture here, you see a young man, and this is where it's got this Sinet Lisa. This is where it got cut off at. Is this a vibranium too? No, I'm just feeling it. But Monica. Okay, Sinette Monica. I'm gonna just keep calling you Sinette Mo. I'll be trying to call you by your whole name, Monica. All right. But you see the young man, you see the young woman, and this is where it got cut off at. And it got cut off because I believe it got cut off because of the woman's breast right here, the young lady's breast. And I actually had another picture up here that I took down before I went live, and it was the same picture, but it was a picture, and you could see her full body with her skirt on, and it had her breast out. And I did something a while back here when I was talking about the youth, and I was showing something. Information was not about the female breast out, and it was some educational information about this tribe. And I had it on Facebook, and I believe somebody reported me. So I couldn't post a picture for a week on Facebook. They took it off of there. So I believe that's why they cut me right here because I got flagged one time for, but like I say, I can go on timelines and I delete this stuff, but I can see nudity on these timelines, people having sex on these timelines, all kind of stuff on other people's timelines, but you will have that on there because it's tied into some ignorance to make us look bad. But I got something that's tied into making us look good and great, and they wanted to actually report me. They want to report me and stuff, you know what I'm saying, which was crazy. And again, if we understand nakedness, and then and that's one thing we don't have anymore. We don't have discipline. You know what I'm saying? At that point in time, we could walk around half naked because we had discipline. We had discipline and we had respect for one another. We had respect for our women because we understood our women and we held our women in high regards. You see, but now we don't have any discipline because we have taken on somebody else's perspective and the way that we look at women. So when we see women, we think that we got to nail every woman that we see. We think we got to holler and whistle at every woman that we see because we don't have any discipline no more. So this is why I believe they cut my presentation right here. Yes, that's why they reported you real quick. Hey, they reported me. They do it. They do it to me for years. Ignorance. They love facts in Black history. They reported nudity is beautiful and it should be respected. That's right, and our ancestors understood that. So they cut me off. I started seeing all the people that was viewing the numbers just started dropping, and it said interrupt broadcast. Then it just went off completely. So I'm like, wow. But anyway, let's get back into it. Each villager, and I ain't got much longer, and I appreciate y'all staying in here rocking out with me, man. I hope the presentation is up to y'all standards. I hope I'm doing y'all a just due on this presentation, especially for the females, because I wanted to show the role, powerful role of the females. And even when I addressed the claim of the Hatshepsut claim, which I had already started on before I seen the claim, I'm going to show women, females that were kings in Kemet. And when you talk about Hatshepsut, I think Hatshepsut is in the 18th or in the 19th dynasty. I'm going to show you kings, women that were in the third dynasty, the fourth dynasty, and so forth. I'm going to show you some of these women that were kings. Yes, there were kings that were women in North Africa, which is called Kemet or Timeri, or what is referred to now as Egypt. So I had already started working on it, but I stopped working on the presentation because I um I was trying to figure out how I was going to organize it because before I do presentation, I have a bunch of tablets. So I take information from books and from articles and I write a lot of stuff down and I go through my head how I want to organize this, how I want to reword this, how I want to say this. So I have to write it down on these tablets. So once I get through writing the stuff down and extrapolating different information, writing down, then I can put the presentation together fast. But it takes me a long time to put the presentation together because of that. So I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to put it all in, tie it all in together, how I want to tie it in. So I'm still thinking about it in my head because I always think about it in my head. I picture the presentation in my head, then I put it together how I want to put it together. But I'm gonna go ahead and start on that pretty soon. But the next presentation won't be on that. But it may be because I'm gonna start on the next presentation I'm gonna do. Shouldn't take that long, so I might jump on that too. But each villager may sculpture initiation masks, and this is the initiation masks. You know, they can be worn on the head, and they most of you can see they looked at the oxes and the bulls, and you see the initiated, the boy going through his rites of passage, finna become going through his adult rites of passage, the girl going to her adult rites of passage. Then you see the boys right here, the young youth right here, they wearing different masks in there, dealing with the fish, the shark, and so forth. We'll get into why they wear the separate masks and not wearing the bulls, and why they do wear these bulls in the ceremony after they have been separated from the society for 6 months and went through certain things to become a man, and she went through certain things to become a woman, and now they're going through their ceremony to be recognized in the society as an adult. You do an awesome job on these presentations. I appreciate it and admire it. Thank you, Sin Sophie. Each village made sculptures, head decorations, statues, vessels, and is soon on heavy masks are worn by the age group that is not yet considered an adult. It said each villager may sculpt initiation masks, head decorations, statues, vessels, and so on. The heaviest masks are worn by the age group that is not yet considered adults. These represent in the realistic manner marine animals or wild dogs, wild bulls, I mean, which young boys might wear calf, fishes, swordfish. So you see the different masks over there. Their dances are unpredictable and violent to accord with the characteristic of the animal representing their own undomestic nature. So basically, what that's talking about is it's like we are all animals. We are all wild. When we are born, we are wild animals. We are undomesticated and we have to be domesticated. So our we are untamed, so we have to be tamed because babies be all over the place. They if we don't teach them, they gonna go up. They just gonna run them up. They wild. We wild animals. So we have to be domesticated. So we have to be taught right from wrong. We have to be taught this is where you use the bathroom at and not on yourself. We have to be taught how to eat for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? When we're hungry, we can able to eat for ourselves and not wait on our mother to feed us. You know, so we are wild. So in the ceremonies, they are depicted as the wild bulls in the wild. That's why they say violent in accord to the character of the animal, according to the animal. So in most of the animals, they are talking about these oxes and these bulls that are in the wild, that are untamed and undomesticated. So they are acting as the animals in these ceremonies, which is symbolism of them being untamed, and now they are being untamed, and now they're being tamed and are being domesticated, and now becoming an adult. They don't have to be taught what I mean. They are no longer wild because they have been taught what to do. Does that make sense to your family? And they definitely was gonna probably shut me down on this picture here. Oh, they probably were gonna shut me down. But here was another Bijago woman here, you know, and you can see here on her chest. Oh, you can see. Let me see some. Okay. Uh, you can see here on her stomach. You can see these markings, these uh scarification marks or scratches. So initiations for the Bijago men are the fondo or the coming of age, and the women representing the crossing between different stages and periods of life. It grants a paternal of men and maternal of women. So also as they go through their adult righthoods or passions, they get what they call scarifications. And scarifications, I talk about scarification in my rites of passage presentation as well, and I explain and go deep into what scarification is and what scarification represents in different African cultures. And if you hadn't seen it and you want to see it, like I said, if you got time tonight or you got time later on through the week or whenever you get some free time, log back on the channel and look at that presentation, and in there it talks about scarification. It also I don't know if it talks about, she talks about scratching too, which me and brother Cuban Crisis talks about a little bit in the discussion we had on my channel this past Saturday. All right, traditional women were the main builders of the house. Listen to this. I think it's because she looks unraised and nude. Yes, but yeah, but she, like I'm saying, we didn't look at nakedness as we look at nakedness today. We walked around half naked, and you have to understand that is a tropical continent. Africa is a tropical continent. The sun is close to the equator of that continent, so it is hot. It is extremely hot. So we wear clothes, but we wore clothes that exposed ourselves more because it was hot. And again, we had discipline. So we wasn't disrespectful to one another. And then you didn't have people having sex without being married. Because again, one of the rites of passage is the marriage rites of passage. And before rites of passage that you go through that teaches you how to be a woman, teach you how to be a man, and also how to be a husband, and also how to be a wife, and teaches the woman that she should be a virgin until she takes a husband, which will be the next rites of passage that they will go through. So we didn't look at nudity in that regards that we look at nudity today. And again, a lot of us don't have any self-respect. I know plenty of men that walk around and every female that they see, they have to holler at that woman. I know plenty of men um wants to have sex with as many women that they come across that are across their paths. You see, so and check this out. Traditional women were the main builders of the house. So remember, I said the Bijago women were also rulers of the societies, but they were also master builders. They selected their own husbands. Remember, I showed you in the slide that how they selected their husband. They will give a plate of food at the door, and if the husband, this how they choose their husband. If the man accept accept their hand, accept the woman hand in marriage, they will eat the plate in full, and then the man will come and live with them in their house. So the women were master builders. They constructed. It says they they were the main builders of the house with the task. They were the main builders of the house. They constructed their own houses, and you can see the houses. These houses here. These are the houses in the area, in the islands, right here. These are the houses. These women were master builders. They build their own houses. Builders of the houses with the task of carrying water, preparing the red mud, erecting the walls, cutting and weaving the grass of the roof. With sand and mud, men had to provide truss poles and the other poles for sustaining the roof provided by the woman with cords made out of slices of palm trees, fronds, and covered roof. The house owner had a responsibility of feeding the workers rice and fish, along with abundance of wine and tobacco. So the woman built majority of the house. The only thing that the man was there, the role was that they had there was for the poles, the truss poles, uh for the roof. I mean, let's see, the men had to provide truss poles and the other poles to sustain the roof. Put, so this was the only thing that the woman, that the man did, but the woman did it all. It says the woman built the builders of the house with the task of carrying the water, preparing the red mud, erecting the walls, cutting and weaving the grass of the roof with the sand and mud. They did it all. They just about did it all. So these sisters was builders as well. Men had to provide. Okay, we already went through that. These were some bad women. This is here is I'm showing like one of the sacred houses right here. So are the sacred shrines. We talked about the Irin statue or the portable shrine. And the portable shrine was housed in the houses because it was used also as protection. It was used as healing also, but it was also used as a carved statue of a dead ancestor where his spirit will inherit in the statue where it will be able to be reincarnated and come back according to the Bijago culture. But reincarnation is all throughout African tradition. But in the Bijago culture, when a deceased dies, they erect this Irin statue. And the spirit of the dead deceased will possess that statue where it will be able to be reincarnated later according to the Bijago culture. And they took this shrine or this statue wherever they went. And they housed the statue in a shrine temple or in the house because it was also used for protection against curses. And this was in another slide that I showed. But the house is used for sacred sacred ceremonies has the same round structures and size as other houses. There are two entrances without doors, and the internal and external are painting with geometric and mythological designs. The builders are sacred houses are all the married women and the adolescent girls of the village. So there you see, hold on. Yes, I am in the South and it is hot. Yes, I can't walk around nude if I would. You right. And but in the other slide I showed the houses and stuff, and they was constructed and built by the women. And the only thing the men were there for was for the poles for the support of the roof. They made the poles in the support of the roof. But here you can see like one of the shrines where they housed some of the statues and other shrines in that had no doors and so forth on them. So it was constructed. This was constructed by the women and the adolescent girls in the village. So they constructed the shrines because they was over the shrines. And it also because it is rooted in the cosmology with the first daughter. We didn't see with the first daughter. Yes, with the first daughter that fabricated the Irin statue, which was a transportable shrine and also housed in the temple within the shrine. And one of the slides said that the women was over the temples or the shrines. Help the young adults who just undergone initiation ceremonies and who provided poles and roof for the covering of it. And now, according to the different religious ceremony, a village may have the following types of sacred houses. So we talked about one slide that we knew that these women was rulers. These women was the rulers of the society. They was over the economics. They was over the politics. They selected the chiefs and they was builders, which they built their own houses, right? They selected their own husbands. So in one of the slides I showed the houses, and they build those houses and what the small role that the men had in helping them construct their own houses. They didn't the women didn't they, these women didn't need the men to really help them construct the houses. Then I showed you the previous slide a while ago where the shrines or the statues was housed in these temples with no doors on it that was built by the women and the adolescent girls or the girls that who have just been initiated into the adulthood rites of passage of the shrines. So there was I'm gonna share the four different types of shrines. I like there's no doors. So the materialistics, no crime, like we know it here. Yes, because in this culture, they said it was even to this day. I mean, at one point in time, they didn't have people that police the area where they had crimes. Now they do, they do, but at one time they didn't. And again, this matriarchic system, again, it was for motherhood, motherness. It was about nurturing. It was about peacekeeping. So we know women tries to keep the peace and so forth. So this what it was about peacekeeping. That tradition was rooted in peacekeeping. Because again, in the tradition, it was about Iwa Pele, it was about good character. And if you have good character, you can you can have peace amongst the society, amongst the village, amongst the clan, and so forth. So here are some of the other types or other names of the sacred houses. The Kandaja Kamato. It is the most important sacred house dedicated to the ancestors of the clans to which the village belongs. It is responsible for the village chief, who chooses the elder women as the Okinke, so keep alive the sacred fire in the village and cares for the religious ceremonies related to the women. And they would do like these, have these sacred fires where they would dance around the fire and so forth. And the men will burn after the flooding. The men would go and burn in the area where these girls they was actually agriculturists. So they was master agriculture. The women were. So they will burn after the flood, burn an area so they can restart and start to plant the rice crops and other plants after the flood will come. After that area will flood. somewhat some of how Kemet at a certain area every year, the Nile or the happy Irit, which is that which we call now the Nile River, will flood at a certain year every time. The Kandaja Karabakh is where most of the ceremonies related to women take place under the direct responsibility of the man chosen participated in some women ceremonies. You Arasau and his wife. The Kanjaja Iramudo is a sacred house for a particular spirit, sometimes borrowed from other ethnic groups, with the power to protect against sickness or increase fertility, and difference from other houses because it's privately owned. So I'm just sharing some of the functions of the other sacred houses. The Kandaja Kaunka, this is where the most ancient spirit or Rubak in the island resides. No initiation ceremonies can begin without sacrificing to the spirits, also called the spirit of the truth. All the houses, a village, must be consecrated with the appropriate ceremony. So these are some of the other sacred houses and some of the functions what they were used for and what the names were. All right. Among clothes, the most important are the traditional grass skirts. So you can see the grass skirts. So we talked about earlier some of the roles and some of the tasks of the women, and particularly they talk about uh, they uh, they fabricated or they weaved or they constructed these skirts, and you all through the area you will see the Bajagon women wearing these skirts, and these skirts are made out of certain things, and they are different colors, and they are different colors for a reason. So you see here these beautiful women down here at the bottom with these grass skirts on. They are different styles for married women, excellent adolescent girls, and female elders who wear skirts of only one color, usually red. Skirts are dyed red, black, and white with different designs according to the different islands. And again, they are inhabited of Guiana Bissau and out on the coastal region of Guiana Bissau, excuse me, Guiana Bissau. And again, those islands are in the Atlantic Ocean, and there are 88 islands, and 20 of them are inhabited by the Bajagon people. So in each, that's why it says there are there are different designs according to the different islands, because they are also on these islands that are in the put out in the Atlantic Ocean. These 88 islands, which are 20 of them, are where the Bajagon people resides at. So you can see the skirts here. Uh, these are some of the other skirts. You can see the skirts here. You can see the grass skirts in red. You can see the grass skirts right here in this dark brown color here. You can see the skirts that are black and brown. You can see these are the elders, elderly women with their skirts on. You can see the yellow here with the youth. You can see these other ones here, the grass skirts that are in black and they have a little white here. You can see the grass skirts here. They are the black, blue, purple, and gold. She has on white and black. She has black and look like some brown in it. She has black, red, this brownish color in here. So I wanted to show the different of the grass skirts. So they was over the grass skirts, border colors. And you can see another picture of the elders women here with the bigger grass skirts on and the black and brown, dark brown in it, and they in some type of ceremony. Look like they're doing in some type of ceremony here. These Bajagon women here. You can see here another construction of the houses and the grassy areas on the island. As again, I told you, these women was rulers of their societies. They were builders. Uh, they were chiefs. I'm not chiefs, but elders. in the community. They was agriculturalists in the community. They was over planting food and herbs and so forth. Uh, here you can. I just wanted to show another. I'm wrapping it up. You can see another Bijago women on one of the islands. Coming out of the islands, she has wood on her head. You can see this other young Bajagon women. You know, and these are some of the things also that they wore with the grass skirt. These things that were hanged over with different colors. This was addressed them being uh, 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 adolescent, young adults, adults, and elders. So the different colors vary, and you would know, okay, this she's around this age. She's around maybe this age. She's around, so you can see the women, and you can see her with the blue, the gold, and the blue, and then you can see the beads around her neck. And again, in all African cultures, you know, we deal with beads. We deal with chorus shells. You can see that a lot in all the cultures, but especially dealing with the West African West African region, the West African countries. You can see that all over. And again, like I said, it's no disrespect to no one that wears the crystals and so forth. Um, you know, no disrespect to that. Just let us know that you like what the crystals do, what they represent, and it's from this culture here. You know, don't mix it in with African culture because we wore beads and we wore chorus shells. So that's another picture. You can see another picture. This is another picture. I thought this was a beautiful picture. So I got this picture here. Another uh Bajagon woman in the forest on the island with a basket of look like a basket of fruit or something on top of her head. Here's another woman here sitting, and you can see the grass skirt here. She has a grass skirt with blue and gold. And remember, the colors represent uh, the stages of life that they've been in, whether you can tell with what they wore, the grass things on top of their shoulders or the grass skirts, you know, the different colors from the red, the blue, the white, the yellow, and the blue. You can tell it specifically what age or what stage the this young lady is into. Here is another elder lady. This is a picture from one of the islands. I think it's Baba Q Island off the Guinean Bissau coast right here. This is a elderly lady, elderly woman here, and you can see her with her grass skirt on here at the bottom. Here is another picture here of a young, pretty lady. And again, you can see the blue and the yellow or the white right here. And this would let you know particularly what stage this young lady in, how old she is. So for what stage initiation she has been initiated in right here. You can see the chorus shells right here on her arm. You can see the beads right here on her neck. So again, we deal with beads and we deal with cowrie shells. We don't deal with crystals in African culture. But again, there's no disrespect for those who wear the crystals. You know, just don't mix it in with African culture. Here's another picture of of a beautiful woman with a bowl of shells on seashells on her head. And this is another picture in the back. I explained to you the chief here and the elders and the women, the council elders. The council elders select the chief. The chief is a male. The chief is over the society, and he distributes the land to those that need the land, but he cannot make a decision in the society without going through the elder council. So he doesn't make the council make the decision by himself. And the elder council, which are women, they are the one who select who's going to be the chief of all the societies here. You can see the woman down here collecting the seashells in the ocean here. These are my references right here. Uh, I'm not gonna go through all of them. I'll just leave the pause right here, and you can look at them. You know, there's a plenty reference. Like I said, you can go through the references, uh, and so forth. um, scrutinize my references or whatever you need to do, but these are my references that I had. This is where I got all my information about the Bijago women. Again, subscribe to Kofi Paisa TV, the channel that takes the black woman, black man, black child, Eurocentric mind, and Africanizing. So that's what my channel is about. It's about taking a black man and the black woman and black child, Eurocentric mind, and Africanizing. Because a lot of times we don't know who we are. We don't know our culture. We don't know our tradition. We don't know where we come from. So Ma set this channel up to bring you home, to get you out of that Eurocentric mind, because half of us is out of our minds. And what I mean by we are out of our minds, we are out of our African minds, because we have been Europeanized. You know what I'm saying? We have a Eurocentric mind state because we let them educate us by going to their schools. We continue to uh, to indulge in their religions, indulge into their cultures and their tradition. We begin to look at their viewpoints as being right and exact, their perspective being right and exact. So I'm trying to pull us back in, you know what I'm saying? Pull us back to our African state of mind. I wanted to show this slide here. Uh, and again, I'm a part of the Seshu by Ani Metanetra group. I appreciate my Sinus and my Sinet, which is Sanu or Sanui means my brothers, and Sanet E means my sister. We have one sister, Emike Aku, which is a member of the Seshu. We don't discriminate. We take women as well, and maybe in the near future we'll be able to get more women into the Seshu. It's not exclusive. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can be a part of the Seshu Ma'ani Metanetter. And again, as I stated when I had the group on yesterday, we I kind of reiterated what the group was about. You know, we're about studying the language, which is the Rani Kemet, means the mouth of Kemet. That's the language of Kemet. And we into the writing, which is the Sesh Metanetter. You know what I'm saying? What y'all refer to as the hieroglyphs. So we into letting the ancestor speaks. You know what I'm saying? We let them speak. So and so a shout out to them again for being on yesterday, and we did some transliterations, some translations of some glyphs yesterday. Um and I wanted to continue to promote our publications for those that may want to take Seshu, the Seshu Metanetra, and learn the writings and the language. This is a beginner book by my Seba or Seba. Seba means teacher. Seba Wuja Iri Ma'at. Um, um, it's my Seba, and he wrote this book a few years ago, and this actually is a textbook to his beginner's course. So if you want to take the class, you can inbox me, or you can inbox any other brother or sister, Emike Aku, um, and tell them you want to take the classes, and we'll get you in the right direction you need to go in as enrolling for the classes to take the classes. But this is the textbook, the beginner course, the introduction of Metanetta, the ancient Egyptian hieroglyph writing by Wujao Min Iri Ma'at. That is my Saber. This is another publication. This is a collective work that we did, that the group put in, work that we did in 2006. Surrounding a debate that's supposed to went on Sinetta TV, and we're rebutting Walter Williams. And again, as I stated yesterday, that we respect Walter Williams. Walter Williams is one of our Auwers. Auwer means great elder. So I'm going to respect him and call him a great elder, because that's what he are. And I advise everyone to get his historical origins of Islam book and his historical origins of Christianity book. I bought those books when I first started to come in what we call consciousness of becoming aware years ago, and those was some of the first texts of literature that I read, and they are great reads, still great reads today. But we rebuttal in his the historical origins of Christianity. We rebuttal a few pages in his book where he says that the ancient hieroglyph writings have never been deciphered. So, and according to the debate that they had, was going on in 2006, at the end of 2006, in December the 26th, the Amin Ra squad against brother against young Pharaoh, which I don't have a problem with calling him young Pharaoh, because even um, the word Pharaoh comes from the word per-ah. Per-ah means great house. That's what they call the Nasut Biti. The Nasut Biti is the proper vernacular when we're talking about king. Nasut Biti means dual king of upper and lower Kemet. So the word Pharaoh became per-ah became uh, Pharaoh, and people started addressing um, every pharaoh is pharaoh, because if you look in the Bible, you look in the Torah, the Quran, they don't never tell you a name. The Nasubiti have 5 names, and we explained the 5 names in the presentation we did yesterday on my channel. For those that may have not checked it out, go back and look at that video. It's called Transliterating and Translating with the Seshu. Seshu means scribes. We are scribes. We are expiring scribes. Seshu means scribes. Ma'ah means true or loyal. Loyal scribes. Ni means of. Medu nature. Of divine nature means divine. Medu means word. And when you understand the grammar, I know in English, we know if we say true, true will come first. The description will come first of the noun. But here it comes, the noun comes first, and then that comes afterward. So ma'ah means true. Seshu means scribe. Ni means of. Nature means divine. Medu means word. And we have it here in the inscription. We have the tools that the scribe used, the palette, the ink goes in, and a tool to carve with, to write with. We have the scribe sitting here, which is plural. Sheshu means scribe. So he have the 3 strokes here that makes it plural. So you have scribe. Then you have the symbol here. I forgot the name of this symbol here, which is ma'ah. And you have the arm represents the lowercase a, which is a complement to the ma'ah sign, which give you the ma'ah sound, ma'ah. Then you have the N here, which is a water ripple, which represents ni, of. Then you have the staff here represents medu, the word, and the flag represents nature. And I talked about this in my presentation, the 75 names of Ra. So for those that want to look at that, or no, it is the 75 names of Ra, or what is the nature slash nature U presentation. So I talk about that. I talk about the flag, why they have the flag symbol, resulting a divine entity or divine forces in nature, divine forces in the universe. So I just broke that down because I understand the writing, because I am an expiring scribe. So I don't want to let these Egyptologists or do lookership look at something and look at a glyph and say this is what the glyph mean when the writing is in the back of the glyph. They always got the writing on there, but we skip the writing and go straight into the picture and do lookership and don't let the ancestors speak. But anyway, this book, with young Pharaoh, like I said, the word Pharaoh comes from the word per-ah. Per-ah means great house. And in the Bible and in the Torah and the Quran, they say it's Pharaoh. They never say the name. But we know that the Nasuts had name. We know about Ramesses the first, the second, the third. We know about Seti the first. We know about Atmos. You see, we know about Thutmoses the first, the second. We know about Akhenaten, whose name was Ahmose the first to change his name to Akhenaten. We know about his father, Ahmose the third, Ahmose the second, Ahmose the first. You see, so we we know the names, and those they had 5 names. The Haru name, the golden Haru name, the Sarah name, the throne name, which is the Nasut Biti name. And they had the two ladies' name, Nekabet and Wajet, the cobra and the vulture. They had 5 different names. So, but the Bible doesn't tell you, because then you will know, because Bible don't give you chronology. So it's always a pharaoh. Which pharaoh was it? What pharaoh? And again, they didn't go by the word pharaoh. Pharaoh means per ah. And we don't go around calling the president the White House. Here come the White House. Here come the White House. Here come the White House. When we know the White House is the house that the president lives in. But anyway, but this here, and Sarah Sud and Seti, those two individuals also was spilling the rhetoric of the ancient hieroglyph writing has never been deciphered, but you call yourself young pharaoh and you say your name is Sarah Sud and Seti. And again, there's no disrespect to those brothers, because I'll be honest, I done went to see Sarah Sud and Seti 3 times actually. The 4th time he came to Jackson, I didn't go see him, because the more I started to grow and I started to see things, I started to know better about certain things and so forth. So and even him calling himself Sarah Sud and Seti, how would you call yourself Sarah Sud and Seti? Sarah means the son of Ra. Sultan, Sarah Sultan Seti. We're talking about Seti in the 18th or in the 19th dynasty that got his name from Set or Satesh, dealing with the Asar, Asar, Aset, Haru, or we talking about the cosmology, Sar, Aset, Nekabet, Set, and Haru. So and even when you talk about Sultan, it's Nasut, it's not Sultan, it's Nisut. Not so when we see the sedge plant, and the bee, we see the sedge plant is Nisut and the bee is Biti. Nasut Biti, not Sultan. But anyway, um, and this here is by our sister that's also in the group, Imiket Akul Kisha, and I forgot Imiket this last name. Oh, excuse no. But this is her publication, Simplified System of Netter Penmanship, a lesson of Egyptian hieroglyph writings. Book 1 of the monolithals. Next book is going to be on the biliterals, which is you have 2 biliterals, and then triliterals will be 3 uh triliterals. That's also is in this book, so you'll understand what I'm talking about. Monoliterals, triliterals, biliterals. And in this book, if you want to understand what translation is, if you want to understand what transliteration is, if you want to understand what decipherment is, if you want to understand what how honorific transposition is, if you want to understand, so many different things, then get these 2 books here. This here, we want to build this up. Saber University. Saber University, this is the thing. Anybody that has something to offer for its teaching and want to, you can go on this website. And even if you want to take the beginner's course of Session Metanetta, you will have to go to this here to this website, Saber University, and this is where you go in to enroll for the taking the classes. But you also, if you a teacher, you can also teach. I don't know for anybody, it is set up like Corsica. Corsica is a class where you can take free classes. I done took some free classes on Corsica in the past. And Corsica, it's just set up like Corsica. And he is allowing you, our Saber is allowing you to make money if you want to charge for your classes. So you can enroll and he'll get back with you whether or not, you're suitable to teach on this platform. This is the Session Metanetta website here that you can go on to cop this book, or you can go on Amazon.com and cop the book. I want to say I appreciate everybody for joining the show. Don't call his name. He gets your channel flagged. Oh wow. I didn't know that, man. He gets your channel flagged. Wow. Wow. Woo! I hope he don't. I didn't disrespect. That's crazy too. But anyway, I just want to appreciate. Yes, I know I ain't get crunk no more with all the cussing on me. But anyway, I'm finna get out of here. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I really do appreciate y'all for tuning in. Again, I hope the video was just due. I hope y'all appreciate the video. Hope y'all got some out of the video because it was dedicated to the queens. I thank y'all for tuning in. I want to say Shimim Hotel.
Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man.
Bridging my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should bring forth another hit, I should find a different frequency. I'm ripping my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should bring forth another hit, I should find a different frequency.